Well, my name's Catherine Michael, and you've already met my grandmother today, but I work at ASX, and I've been absolutely campaigning for this event with Huda, and my whole entire floor is ready to watch you eat, to eat with you, to hear you speak. They're used to it because I feed them constantly, all day, every day, which is what Lebanese people do for sure. So we're very excited to have you here. So thank you for coming.
My name is Karen. I come from Aslan, from Wadi Annubin. There you go. But Siken Junior, and I lived in Lebanon when I was a little girl, so I've always got a very, very strong heart and affection for Lebanon. But I'm here. I chair the Sydney Life Committee, Lebanese International Finance Executives. It's a lot broader now, but there's a number of pillars. It's all about connecting people, Lebanese people, all with a common cause. But the one that really connects with me is nurture, and that's about trying to empower some of the students in Lebanon who don't have the opportunities that we obviously have. So through education and giving them a second chance. But also the other point that I'm very, very connected to is trying to make sure that people understand the true narrative of Lebanon and the true culture and the beauty and the love and everything that comes from Lebanon. So trying to change the story away from Lebanon and its problems to Lebanon and its beauty. So that's my job.
Anthony, أهلا وسهلا فيك. نحن اليوم موجودين بالأستراليان Stock Exchange, Australian Securities Exchange in Sydney. It's the heart of the financial market here in Australia. We wanted to invite you today to be our special guest, which coincides with Lebanese Independence Day. It's our pleasure to have you here to introduce you to the face of Lebanese Australia, some of the people who work here with us in the ASX who are Lebanese and who are excited to meet you and who also love what you do. Thank you for coming and being our special guest, and we hope you enjoy the Lebanese morning tea we have lined up for you today.
شيء كتير عظيم عم بصير، ومش الكلمات ما عم بتأدي تقدر تخبر الإحساس. غمروني بلطفهم بمحبتهم، وعم نرفع اسم لبنان بعد أكتر وأكتر وأكتر، وللي كان عم بينسيه، اللي كان عم بيفقد الأمل، يحو وين ما كان وين ما تبرم في لبناني، كيف ما تبرم في لبناني، وأن يكون اليوم موجود هون. واو، وهيك ببلش النهار.
Anthony, you should know that the ringing of the bell is the highest honour we can give to any visiting guest here at the ASX. It is typically limited to people who are opening their companies on their first day of trading, people with dignitaries, VIPs, VVIPs coming from overseas. They come here and we give them this honour to ring the bell. Question we often get is, what's so important about a bell? The story that I like to share, and it sort of brings us here today, is that long before technology, long before internet, Twitter, the bell was a sound that brought people together. We ring the bell when we ask people to come together and come to the stock market to trade shares, to exchange shares, to meet together, to gather together. And I think all of you will agree that Anthony's videos bring a lot of the Lebanese community together. And that's why I think ringing the bell today for Anthony to here visit us here at the ASX is actually a very good commemorative event as well. 10 9 8 7 6 5 4 3 2 1
I can't thank you enough. Thank you so very much. I'm very honored, and no words can describe how honored I am. Never thought ever in my life when I started that until 2012 that I'll be reaching that point, trying as much as I can reconnecting Lebanese all across the globe and searching for the success stories that definitely are success people, but are not shown enough for all the diaspora that is 16 million all across the globe. And altogether, just knowing about each other, about our challenges, about our success stories, about who we are, what we have become, and where we come from is very important. So this way we can probably, if we're shy, go out and talk about it. If we stop saying we're Lebanese, remember that we are, and remembering every single day why we have reached here. So being Lebanese is special in all kinds of words. Being Lebanese is being intelligent, being charismatic, being passionate, having dreams, finding solutions for anything that happens in front of us. Being Lebanese is, I'm not sure if companies need today to put one of the top 10 rules of any company in the world, have at least 10% of people Lebanese, because they are special. Very humbly and honestly. So again, being here today is a pride for not myself, but the country I come from. And I'm sure not only 16 million across the globe, but 4 million Lebanese in Lebanon that didn't have the chance to travel, to come here, or to see the world, will be very proud to see me standing for them here, and thank you so much.
Thank you. Today we come together to recognise the independence of Lebanon, a country that has been defined by occupation and war. The Lebanese over the years have constantly fought questions over their identity, a phenomenon that breeds constant debate and adoption of new ideologies and values. Lebanon, known as the Paris of the Middle East, has been invaded, occupied and ruled by foreign parties over the years, mostly due to its geographic position, its resources and its beauty. The Independence Day, observed on November 22nd, is a national holiday commemorating the country's emancipation from the French Mandate, which had been in place over the Lebanese territory for 23 years. This occupation had an immense impact on the country, language, architecture, food, art and culture. And to this day, Lebanese people sprinkle their sentences with French. My very own grandfather was known to charm a waitress or two with his French at our family dinners. Although we live in a nation made up of countless cultural backgrounds that we've made Australia our own, we live in a nation made up of countless cultural backgrounds that have made Australia what it is. A country having its independence and an identity of their own is truly paramount. As such, it was when the people finally came together and demanded a voice and to be heard that independence to Lebanon was granted. As an Australian Lebanese born in Sydney and growing up in a position of privilege, it is hard to create a parallel and truly understand the importance of this moment in history. It was, after all, formalised in 1943, which seems like a lifetime ago. But in reality, this is a powerful moment that shaped who I am and those who created me. Without Lebanon securing its freedom and independence, there would be no Lebanon as we know it. A country known for its rich love of music, film, art, fashion, food, and in particular, overfeeding others. This is our identity and who we are at a core. I would like to finish up by explaining the impact that this has here and now. Today with me in this room is my grandmother, over there in yellow. And my mother and my aunts, all of whom I've smuggled in today to meet Anthony Rahayel. I would like to call out that many of you know that I'm a bit of a diva and a fashionista in the office, but you can see from her that I get it from her for sure. She's been outfit planning all weekend to meet you all. What I wanted to say was that every day my grandmother and my mother and aunts watch Anthony every single day on YouTube. They watch as he travels around the world and around Lebanon in particular, highlighting the cultural impact that Lebanese people have had globally, creating a sense of pride and reiterating Lebanese independent voice. And in a time when Australia is discussing the importance of recognising an Indigenous voice in Parliament, this is more important than ever. So today, I'd like to thank the Giving Committee, Culture and Heritage, and ASX for allowing us to host this event and for allowing culturally diverse voices to be heard here.
I'd actually like to start by sharing a very personal story of mine. And it's a story that actually not many people in the whole world actually know. And it's a bit sensitive, but I'm sure you'll support me as I share this with you. My mum often says this story has had salt and pepper added to it over the years just to spice things up a bit. Following the decade after World War II, many people left Europe and the Middle East in search for a better life where they sought peace, they sought to find work, start a family and to thrive. Lebanese people went to every corner of the world, France, Canada, US, Brazil and Australia, just to name a few. My own father's cousins went to America, they went to Boston, and they tried very hard to get him to come with them, and for some reason he just chose to hang around for another couple of years. But he then chose to go with some friends of his, some of his mates, and he goes, I'm going to give Australia a crack. So in the mid-50s, he jumped on a boat, came over here with one suitcase, and looked for a fresh start. He did many jobs. He was the jack of all trades. One day there was a job that was paying really well at a local textile factory, just over in Fairfield, believe it or not. I'm sure you can these days. But back then, to get a job, all you had to do was fill out a form, queue up, and if they approved you, you started straight away, and if you did well, you got the job for the week and then you'd have to apply again. My dad filled out the form. His name was Anthony Nahas, N-A-H-A-S. The man, the boss hiring him, looked him up and down, looked at the form and said, sorry mate, nothing for you today, thanks for coming in. My dad was a bit despondent, walked around, went to the back of the queue, and as he walked back he noticed that the people behind him in the queue were more Anglo-Saxon in their appearance, were actually given work. He was very disappointed at that, and he thought, you know what, I'm not going to be deterred, I'm very determined, I'm going to come back tomorrow and try again. One of the things he remembered from those cousins of his in America is that they had changed their name from Nahas to Nash to try and remove some of those prejudices. So the next day, same outfit, same job, same queue, walked up, signed the form, and the exact same bloke was interviewing him. Walked up, and the bloke didn't recognise my father. He looked at the form, and the form, instead of saying Anthony Nahas, it said Tony Nash. My dad was ushered in straight away and started work straight away. He was actually there for quite a few years. So those prejudices, I strongly believe that over the years those prejudices can be removed by understanding, acceptance, removing of people's fears, and our guest today, he may not know this, but plays a very big part in making other cultures understand the Lebanese heritage. And I think even to this day that's still the case. My dad was very emboldened by that, and about a decade later, about 4 or 5 years before I was born, he formally changed our family name to Nash. And I was Robert, my brother was Paul, my sister was Susan, and my eldest brother was Michael. Very westernised names, because he wanted to give, first and foremost, above everything, his family and his children the best start possible in a new country. As I've said, the Lebanese people have travelled across Australia and the world. They've excelled in every walk of life. Politics, law, medicine, media, construction, sports, academia, and of course here today in finance. But despite whatever country we live in, whatever our chosen occupation, despite our religion, what unites us, just like many other cultures, is the importance of family, people, and as Catherine said, food. Our guest today has spent a lot of time bringing a lot of that, particularly not only the Lebanese people, but from right around the Middle East. I'm going to steal one of Anthony's catchphrases right now. He paints a picture of positivity. But his paintings aren't displayed in galleries, they're displayed on YouTube. Instead of canvases, he uses a smartphone. Instead of paint, he uses people. And let me tell you, some of those are masterpieces. Our guest, Anthony, is welcomed into the homes, kitchens and businesses with one goal in mind, that is to tell their story. It's never about him. Whether or not it's a grandmother baking using an ancient family recipe, or the state-of-the-art organic produce company employing local people and exporting to all countries of the world. Just their story, always. There is one story I'll never forget that Anthony did. On the 4th of August 2020, many of you may remember that we had the very large, unfortunate Port of Beirut explosion. Over 200 deaths, 7,000 injuries, $20 billion of damage, and over 300,000 people homeless. In fact, the University of Sheffield estimated that explosion was one of the largest artificial, non-nuclear explosions in human history. In the days after that explosion, Anthony live-streamed hours and hours of footage, walking through the city, documenting the damage and the impact it had on people. He did this despite his own office being completely trashed. He felt it was important to get out there and give that message of the people. And one of the things I appreciated most from that video, Anthony, is you remained completely silent in some of those videos. You didn't say a word, you let the picture tell the story. On many occasions he checked in with people who were struggling just to see if they needed anything. I remember this one moment which probably I won't ever forget. He stopped by an old shopkeeper who, despite actually being covered in blood-soaked bandages around his head, he wanted to open up his shop because he knew that his community needed fresh food and water. And despite what injuries he had, he felt he owed it to his community. Anthony stopped by again and again to provide financial support out of his own pocket, and he would not leave unless through teary eyes they reluctantly accepted that support. But that's one of the bad events. Anthony also says Lebanon is not what you see on the news. It is through his videos that he always looks for the good stories, the unsung heroes, shining light on the people who made a difference to their families and the communities. We think he does a good job, and so do other people. Anthony was awarded the World Street Food Blogger of 2019 and the World's Best Food Account on 2020 in YouTube. He's a doctor of dentistry, he's a photographer, a TV presenter, author, entrepreneur. And from the stories we've just shared with you, Anthony, you're also a good bloke. I started this story off with a personal one, and I want to finish with a personal one. When I was very young, my dad sent me off to join the Boy Scouts. And I'll never forget one of the sessions that we did was orienteering. And I think it was like 8 or 9, and I was given a compass. And we were sent out to some parks, and I was shown that you could open this compass and you could always find where north was. And I was fascinated. I had no idea what this was. I thought it was magic. And I was told, doesn't matter where you are in the world, you will always know your way home. And it saddens me to think that sometimes, personally, I find myself distant from my culture. But with your help and your videos, you always point me home. So thank you, Anthony.
Whoa, that's emotional. Yes. I come from land that's 7,000 years back. 7,000 years old. Not 10, not 50, not 100. 7,000. Definitions exported the alphabet, business, discovered countries, discovered, they say, the Americas and probably Australia. But back then, they didn't have Instagram to share. So let's say that we come from one of the smallest countries on earth, one of the smallest, with problems on a daily basis. But the good part of it is that we find solutions for them every single day. We've been occupied by many, by the Ottomans, by the French, by the Roman, you name it, we had it. And yet, we're here with a big smile. And we're in every single business all across the globe, more than 16 million expats, success stories, happy people, loaded with things to give. And whenever they come to a certain country, they are part of it, they reach certain levels of it, and they acknowledge and thank what the country has given them. So I've been all around, and unfortunately, Lebanon, since I woke up to that world, was never seen positively or as positive as it should be. So I woke up one day and said, okay, everybody says there is no government. Fine, let's do something about it. Everybody says that the Ministry of Tourism is not giving us enough power and enough advertising for Lebanon. Let's do something about it. I'm Anthony. I finished as a dental surgeon, did 4 specialties: dental surgery, implantology, hypnotherapy, and laser in dentistry back then in 2009 when nobody heard about laser in dentistry, and probably to date few do. And then one day, 2012, I just closed, in 2019, I closed the clinic and said, I have a mission. Let me tour around Lebanon, and let me go search for success stories. What is a successful person, for me at least, is one person that has managed to educate a family, that has managed to open a business, that has managed to survive. Success stories in our world are more of people with suits, with bank accounts, with nice TV interviews. But success stories are hardworking people, that are hardworking ladies, families, housewives, very simple person, taxi drivers, glass cleaners, and those have never made it on TV. So I wanted to go out, use YouTube, social media, whatever the powers I have and the investment I can put, and just film them. Them, not me. And I'm just one person that just connect with them with a big smile and say, don't be shy from the camera. Tell me your story. Talk to me. There's no camera. And let the world know. 4,500 videos later, a television show in Lebanon with 9 episodes a week, a television show in Iraq with one episode a week, and I was not given easily a USA visa, and I chose that going to Iraq was not the easiest part. But yet nobody covered Iraq and filmed Iraq, and if you watch my 30 videos about Iraq, you're going to say, is this Iraq we know about on the news? And it grew out of from Lebanon to the Middle East and so on and so forth. And one day I said, okay, let's go search for the Lebanese success stories all across. Just came back 3 days ago from Canada with amazing emotional 21 days, and now Australia. And then I can thank enough the love I'm giving in every single country. What I'm trying to say today is, let's look at the world, us from that world. We're all the same, we're all alike, we're all living in different parts of the world, but at the end we have the same spirit coming from the same creation, and reconnecting us together as cultures, learning from each other, learning from one another is something I dream to achieve as much as I can. And today being here in front of you is an honor, is a huge honor. I can't imagine how honored I am, how blessed I am. Me, that simple Lebanese, smallest country on earth, 4 million people, dentist from the village, and then representing my country in a way or another in front of you. Thank you so very much, and thank you for making this happen. The Lebanese Independence Day is not the most cherished day ever, with all the problems that we have and the negativity happening around the Middle East, but yet we're very proud of it, and we remind every one of it that we, Lebanese, 7,000 years history country, we, Lebanese, 16 million successful person around the world with presidents in many countries and others, we're very proud of who we are, despite everything, and I'm here to tell you about it, and thank you so much.
Thank you for visiting today, Anthony. It's a real pleasure to have you here, like everyone said. I have actually known Anthony for a few years now. I've had the privilege of actually being involved in some of the work he has been doing in Lebanon over this time. But there are many people, obviously, who don't know him. And often when people ask me, okay, so who is Anthony Rahayel? I basically say to them, look, he is the best thing that has ever happened, well, that's happened to Lebanon in a very long time. You are. He's the one person who has not only entered every Lebanese home, but he's brought every part of Lebanon into every home. So you might think, well, that can't be that hard. I mean, Lebanon's a pretty small country. But when you consider just how diverse we are, and all of the issues that we have in Lebanon, you know, that's no small feat. And hopefully you're beginning to realise from hearing us all speak that, like, you're getting a sense of just how widespread the positive impact is that Anthony has had on so many of us, me included. I think for me, working for a place like ASX, which has always embraced diversity, it's enabled me to share the love that I have for Lebanon with the people around me. Frank, you know that very well, and the people that work with me. Without the fear of being judged. And I think Anthony has really just given me more reason to be even more prouder than before. While Anthony loves his food, he has an insatiable appetite, as we've heard, for connecting people to one another and connecting them with their roots. He often describes this as his mission, along with spreading joy and sharing happiness. I honestly don't think any mission could be more noble. I'm just going to end by saying that when we think about just how fast our world is moving, a world that's predicted to be producing over 180 zettabytes of data by the year 2025, it's heartening to know that at least some of the data will be made up of content like yours, Anthony, that's good for us, that educates us, that connects us in positive ways, and that strengthens our communities and finds us and helps us find ways to make tomorrow better. Thank you once again, everyone, for being here, and stick around to enjoy some Lebanese.
To bring back some happiness to the room and remove the emotions, so let's talk about our breakfast. And this is what I try to tour around with. Imagine this, it looks black, doesn't look too appetizing, but in this is a village, in this is culture, in this is history. In this is 300 days of sun, is a time that feels and tastes like the land. Is vegetables that taste like vegetables, and probably fruits that taste like fruits. In this is love, in this is a dough that has been relaxed for more than 3 hours, is life inside with yeast that lets it grow. It smells amazing, it makes you close your eyes, remember your origins, feel like home. It's not like any food. It's za'atar, it's thyme, and it comes from our land. Many have planted it, many have had it, but the Lebanese one is way different. So when you eat this next time, just close your eyes, imagine yourself watching a Discovery Channel episode and say, oh my God, Lebanon. It feels good, it tastes love. Enjoy it. Very, 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 very emotional. أكيد 4 مرات و very emotional مش معقول. It was an amazing event. كان في بالأوضة يمكن شي 80 شخص بيناتهم 10 لبنانية والبقية لا، وقريت بعيون كلهم لبنان؟ رح روح على لبنان شي نهار. لبنان؟ وأنا وفالل منقول له باي لوليد.
حبيبي خلي لي اياك، تشرفنا معرفتك، تحية للبنان.
وليد بالمنيف يا حنان، نحن وين ما كان، مش حنان، نحن وين ما كان. من هالجرس اللي مثل ما شفتوا دقوا كتير قليل، انتو لبنان دقيتوا جرس، انتو دقيتوا جرس.